Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, well, it's said he's the most feared guard in the business, with 120 collars, all convicted. Man's even got 2 kills. He's my co-host, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gents.
Welcome back.
Welcome, one and all.
For another sunny day.
Oh, yeah.
Another
nice
episode of the show.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank
good.
you for another twisting of melons.
Oh,
another
yeah.
mind-altering, psychotropic episode. So welcome, whether you're a new visitor or a repeat offender.
Oh, repeat.
Welcome to another episode. We got a great episode coming up tonight. On tonight's show, we talk to a man. Yeah, he's a very nice man. Mr. Darcy Weir. He's a brilliant filmmaker and the creator of the Secrete Space series. Darcy will be joining us to talk about UFO disclosure, as well as his new documentary, Secrete Space UFO Fastwalkers. That's coming up in the show very, very shortly. So well worth sticking around for. Plus, this week's World Wacky events in the news, as well as NASA space UFO stories.
Oh, yeah.
All coming up.
Indeed, yeah.
Excellent stuff. What's your week look like, Mr. Taylor? The sun has been shining. It has been a beautiful week.
It really has.
Lovely weather for picnics, parks, barbecues. Done any of that?
Nope. I've done
a bit
of washing, and I've been working at night. So
do you know what? This is the thing. I mean, like I watched a video recently about things that Americans do that we don't do, and we do that they don't do. One of these comparison videos. And doing the washing, hanging the washing outside isn't something most Americans do. Am I wrong in that?
Oh,
I like it. I like the outdoor smell of your clothes.
Beginning of Rambo, they had the washing out. There you go. First blood.
Well, he'd drawn a lot of blood. I mean, he had a lot of washing to do, Mr. John
true.
Rambo. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of stains.
Yeah.
How do you get your rotten stains out, Mr. John Rambo? Well, I used new biological biz.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, biz, yeah.
Anyway, so, what, you've just been doing your washing, have you? Washing your socks?
Yeah, well, you got to give yourself a bit of a clean every now and again.
Yeah, spruce yourself up.
Yeah.
For the ladies.
But then just working, really, and looking at some more UFO files. There's quite a bit that I'm looking in at the minute in Russia.
Well, I think tonight's episode will definitely spark off your imagination if you're interested in UFO disclosure and stuff like that, because Darcy, who will be joining us on the show pretty shortly, he's very knowledgeable. He's a really interesting guest. One of the most interesting and kind of knowledgeable guys on the topic.
He knows his stuff
that we've had on, to be honest. So we'll be talking to Darcy a bit later on. I went to the park a couple of times. It's been nice.
Oh, right.
But been busy this week. It's been a very busy week. Loads of admin stuff, working, recording.
Yeah.
We've had some guests this week. We've got a lot of guests coming up.
Yeah, we have. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. There's a new thing we're starting now. Is we're going to be sending out a newsletter.
We will
in the foreseeable future, which basically will give you the heads up on guests, bits going on, and development.
What the future's coming.
Which is, if you can sign up to that by just going over to the website, neverastraightanswer.co.uk, and if you create an account there, you'll get the newsletter. So basically, just sign up. That's all you have to do. You don't have to give any information, just your email address, and you'll get a newsletter. The new one, the first one, looks great, and that'll be getting sent out soon. So if you've signed up to the website, you'll be getting that in the email soon. Also, well, I'm not going to go into too much because it's all going to be in the newsletter.
Yeah, that's true.
Hooray.
That is very true.
We've got some cool stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks anyway, so we're definitely worth keeping an eye out. Before I move on, have you got anything else that was exciting, thrilling that's happened to you?
No, not really. Why have you?
Oh, no. Well, normally I've got a little question or a little thing for you. Do you know at this point?
Right. That's true.
But do you know what? I haven't.
Oh, slipping.
Not this week.
Yeah.
But I can say this week's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Hive Mind Clothing.
Oh, yeah.
Hive Mind's a Manchester-based clothing line that has got some excellent designs using eco-friendly materials. They plant trees and even offer free postage. We love this company and recommend that you have a look at their online store. Yes. So if you're looking for some cool, unique designs, T-shirts,
they've got it all there.
Head over to Hive Mind Manchester. There'll be a link in the description.
They will.
Oh, yeah, definitely check them out. Well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. They've got nice designs, man.
Yeah,
nice
so that's Hive Mind Clothing.
Yeah.
Manchester, to check them out. Like I say, the link will be in the description, so if you want to check those out.
Have a little look.
Do you know what? I do like, because you've got some pretty unique stuff there. And do you know what? Because they're a Manchester clothing line, they have Manchester-themed designs. They have, which is cool.
Which is really cool, man.
So, like, and some club stuff like Hacienda and
you gotta have some of that in. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes. Well, tonight we're joined by a very special guest. He's travelled the world to discover the truth about UFOs. He's a director and filmmaker and the director of the new documentary Secrete Space UFO Fastwalkers. It's Darcy Weir. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good to meet you both. It's Lee and
Gaz. Nice to meet you, Darcy.
Gaz, nice to meet you, buddy.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I know you're very busy at the moment with the release of your new documentary. It's interesting stuff. Congratulations on it, by the way.
Great film.
It's a very visually good documentary. I do recommend people check it out, and I'm sure you're going to want to by the end of this interview. What led you to want to make a documentary about disclosure and UFOs and space in general? I mean, it's a topic that people are very interested in at the moment. That's one thing. But do you think that there's information you've got that's going to kind of we're going to be like, wow,
make a bit of a difference?
Yeah, that's the goal, really. To make a difference, a positive effect upon the UFO community, right? There's so many different content creators and storytellers out there that I appreciate and respect as well, that are contributing their side of this overarching story. But I've been making this series of documentaries called Secrete Space UFOs, and then, a different rabbit hole, if you will. All of them dealing with NASA, never a straight answer, guys, and their history on the record involving UFOs or anomalies that were recorded in space. And Fastwalkers was probably the natural next step in this series, because that terminology really only started showing up in the United States Air Force and NORAD documents in recent times, in modern times of space history.
What is exactly is a fast walker? I mean, we kind of understand the terminology in terms of UAPs, UFOs, the UVAs, these types of things. But I mean, a fast walker, is that kind of code name for seeing these type of things in space
for a certain project?
Or I don't know. Is it a project, or is it kind of just like a terminology for the visual?
Terminology in one kind of area.
Well, like Darcy's going to tell us. Go on.
Yeah. So it really is a UFO that's been picked up by sensors around the planet. Usually, the Air Force was reporting on these, and the Air Force has NORAD, which is the North American Airspace Command. They're a joint defense initiative in North America between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And in a united way, they're scanning the skies, and that includes the heavens, that includes space. And they have NORAD's HQ used to be in Cheyenne Mountain, but they've moved since. I'm sure they still have some stuff there. But essentially, they have sensors, ground-based and space detection centers that are satellites and such used to monitor Earth and see what's coming and going. Most of the time, they're going to be interested in things like missile launches or rocket launches that are supposedly coming from.
Now, you assume there'll be a lot of space debris as well out there, that like space junk and kind of meteorites, just kind of random bits. Does NORAD kind of just scan the skies for any imposing threats or any sort of anomalies?
Well, as far as I know, the NSA, their tracking satellite systems and ground-based sensors that they pull data from have a filter that they put over that data to filter out the prosaic objects.
I see. Yeah, so they've got a kind of an idea of what they're used to seeing, but being able to filter that out obviously leaves non-filtered objects, which are anomalous. You know, that's the stuff they're interested in, I assume.
Exactly. Like, I mean, throughout the years, we've always had computer technology to aid and assist human minds in being that true detector of an anomaly, right? They're probably looking at data and saying, okay, this is nothing, this is nothing, this is something. But, you know, with the advent of artificial intelligence, you don't even really need the human as much anymore. I'm sure those filters would be immediately siphoned for the best and truest quality of anomalies.
Well, we were talking about the missile. There's the meteor defense system they've got in place now, haven't they? Where they can track and kind of track meteorites to an extent where they can find out whether they're a potential threat. I mean, do you think that's the same sort of software they're using? Because it seems like they've been ranting a bit about how great this technology recently. Just for that reason, really. But do you think that this... Because in terms of the technology, I feel like the stuff that we... And I think it's mentioned in the documentary where we were picking up kind of these anomalies on technology in the 70s, where... Mm-hmm. And nowadays, it's like we're leaps and bounds ahead of that. So why are we not getting so much more data in that way?
Because that data is not to be released to the public. Oh. That's why you never get a straight answer.
That's true. That
it's not. Well, it's not for our eyes. It's for military and need to know eyes only.
Do you not think with more independent agencies wanting to go to space and, you know, taking that initiative to set up
they've already started,
space agencies, that
for sure
Japanese
sooner or later this sort of disclosure's got to be sort of realized?
Yeah, I think what is happening right now, especially with NASA doing their UAP media release and discussion on May 31st of this year, just coming up. They're going to do they're going to do a private media meeting and discuss what their plans are in terms of their UAP studies and what some of the things that they've found. And then they're doing a public one where people can actually tune in live through streaming and, probably radio and call. And the audience can interact with NASA and ask and upvote questions about UAP-related subject and what they're doing. So it's a pretty interesting time we live in, because theoretically UAPs were never something that was of interest to NASA for the past 5 to 6 decades, right? Yeah. But then all of a sudden,
we all want to know.
5 years, there's this fury of information coming out and interest from the public, mainstream media in UAPs, and by extension that UFOs, and they're like, we're stepping up to do something. So,
I think there's a part of it is an economic reason as well, because more people in it, like there's more films, so there's going to be more taxes when more people go and see like your film. I think there's a kind of a quite an economic
So they're using
reason
using the knowledge
some of it to be released. Yeah.
Going into the information though, I mean, going into kind of some of the bits like the fastwalker, the term fastwalker. You said earlier it was a term that was being used by NORAD, and you know, it was the information that you find out for the documentary. Is this readily available information? Because you know, you find that most stuff's redacted when it comes to UFO or you know this type of field. You don't really get a straight answer. So I was amazed that there was so much information there. So I mean, like,
that it provided.
Yeah, exactly.
You can pull a lot of the documents from Freedom of Information Act requests that John Greenwald did, who runs the Black Vault, which is like
just gonna say,
that runs a UFO information repository from, you know, all the different things that the military possibly has and has released over the years. CIA, intelligence and military agencies, what he specializes in. And so a lot of that documentation that's included in the documentary actually comes from his efforts to get this information. And, you know, one of the very first letters that NORAD wrote to him was, we don't have any information on fastwalkers, but we know that that's a lie.
Yes.
Right.
Because he did. Quite a lot by the looks of it.
So the Air Force and NORAD have been recording fastwalker sightings or fastwalker detections for decades now. And those are space-based UFOs, space-based objects, flying or moving objects that seem to be moving with intelligent control. Because a slow walker, by their definition in their manuals and such, are things like known objects, like a satellite. A slow walker will gradually glide through the night sky. Like these known things are just human satellites most of the time, right? But a fast walker is something that ping pongs around Earth, above Earth orbit, and also enters the atmosphere and sometimes interacts with our militaries and such. And so in the documentary, I'm covering these fast walker incidents, and then I go into all of these STS missions, the space shuttle missions that were used to arm and build the International Space Station, to deploy satellite systems into orbit for the different military and research agencies around the world, as well as make observations from space, all these astronauts going up with the equipment and helping install it. So
this is interesting. And the going into space, and you know, you've got these kind of all these astronauts over the years who have gone and spent time in space. Like, you know, they've got to have kind of been observing some sort of
absolutely.
You know, there was one in particular from Skylab that's brought up.
Albion.
Yeah,
that was 1973. So that's post Apollo missions, and the Apollo missions. The Apollo manned missions were full of UFO and unidentified sightings. Absolutely.
Do you think that's because
jam-packed?
Because they were interested that we were now taking those steps ourselves?
I
that
think
we
so.
were suddenly coming out of the, you know, the atmosphere out into space, and it was something worth seeing. I think they're probably used to it now, and they just kind of treat us as like a, you know, nothing sissy here.
I think some of the stuff that's out there in space, especially on the moon, some of the stuff I've covered in other documentaries revolving around the moon landings and what astronauts are seeing on the way there or on the moon, it kind of makes me think that there's something that's automated that's been running in our galaxy, in our solar system for, you know,
do you think the moon's a base?
I think the moon is in a perfect place to run a dynamic, evolving Earth system that has thriving life like us. So
almost like a
I think
server, like the data for life on Earth potentially housed, in obviously you have your network servers, don't you, which kind of house that information. I don't know.
Maybe.
Potentially.
It would explain one theory that I've had for quite a while about how they know, when you look at a UFO, it's like it already knows you're looking at it and it goes and darts off or does whatever it's displayed. It automatically knows, but having
it's
place
like an automated response.
Yeah, it's like having the moon could project that even more, that they know every single movement that we make.
Well, it's funny because the guys in that Skylab in 1973, they were saying that they were being followed by this object. It was almost leading them.
Like 2 to 3 miles away.
Yeah.
Which is not that far.
So, for them to be able to kind of, and I've heard this from a lot of different sort of pilots and, astronauts alike, that they feel that there is sort of this awareness of like they're being watched, or they're aware that they're watching. And like you've just said there about, that would explain why there isn't so much great footage of UFOs in unidentified objects, but because they're kind of maybe affecting your camera gear or whatever. I mean, I cannot believe that that's why we get blackouts on the ISS, though, and probably way before when Skylab was up.
Skylab was the first space station.
Yeah, exactly.
And then ISS is like this mega space station, and they actually have plans to build a new space station at this point. It is supposed to be built further past the ISS, and it's going to be where's my information on this? It's called the Lunar Orbiting Platform Gateway, and it'll serve as a waypoint for future missions to the moon and beyond. The space station will help humanity extend its footprint out into deep space and enable a variety of scientific and commercial activities on and around the moon. So
that's going to grow that. That's going to be
the ISS might be dwarfed by this.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of what is it, Valerian, Planet of 1,000 Cities or City? Yeah, and that scene at the very beginning with the space station, and it keeps growing because more. First of all, it's nations, but then it's new civilizations, and having that gateway.
It's like the United Nations of space.
Exactly. Somewhat, God, we're one step away from Star Trek, really.
Do we deserve to be at that point when it comes?
Well, maybe.
Because I think we should be at least.
Do you really think we're emotionally intelligent enough as a species to even comprehend it just yet?
We think of a lot of things that are totally wrong.
I mean, when we do have these blackouts and stuff, I mean, do you think, obviously, these astronauts, cosmonauts, all these space adventurers, they're all kind of sworn to secrecy about what they see. What do you think? Do you think that they want to kind of give more disclosure? Because I know, obviously, Buzz Aldrin, he does drop an occasional cryptic clue. Or do you think that's something he's doing to kind of just stir the pot?
No, I think because he knows. I think a lot of astronauts know. I mean, even
I'd have
during
to go all of them.
Really,
I'd have to say all of them. Yeah, to be honest,
I'd say a lot of them. Yeah. I think that there's, first of all, some kind of agreement that astronauts must safeguard information from the public because they are connected to intelligence and defense agencies. They need to keep certain details from going public because it could disturb the well-being of the public. So, one of my first documentaries, for example, Secrete Space UFOs, in the beginning, we talk about Executive Order 10501, and we talk about the joint research group report that was published through NASA and the and a like third party think tank, it'll come to me. But it was basically a study of what should we do as a best practice when we go into space and we find out more details about ourselves. And about the nature of the universe. And two things that they say should be safeguarded from the public as a result of that study are the implications that we're not alone. So if they ever do face-to-face meetings with extraterrestrials, this is literally in their NASA
sort of mission statement, if you like. Sort of.
It says like that should not be given to the public. And another thing they say is if we find out that there are other civilizations that once existed in our solar system that were advanced but are no longer here, as if they almost already know that there might be relic technology or relic civilization findings,
or information, or some sort of like historical items, or even historical records.
Stands for Earth as well. The people who found things that are like 3 million years old and should have never been like that.
Yeah.
Then there will be technology that they'd be finding.
In that respect, you are right, Taylor, because I mean there is history that's been covered up just on our planet. Never mind what other implications, other planets' implications could have on our civilization. So I mean, the idea that they do have their reasons for hiding this stuff. But do you not think we're just getting to the point now where we're too kind of open-minded? We're a bit more woke to it. I was saying to you about 20 years ago, Taylor, you'd be, you said you believed in aliens and you'd be seen as a bit of a kook. So,
Easily, yeah. But now things have changed differently. But that's only because the governments and agencies are getting caught out bit by bit. And now more people, because of the internet, have got more questions and they're not getting answered, which what started me off in ufology anyway, straight away. I was asking questions to myself, trying to find the answers. There's no answers, so where do you go on them answers? If it's not one thing, it must be another. If it's not then what is it?
This is the thing, I think, with the fact... I'm sorry, Darcy.
Sorry, the study, which you can find online, it's published. You can like download the PDF and read the whole findings from that, which is from December of 1960, right at the advent of NASA being created. It's called the Proposed Studies on the Implications of Peaceful Space Activities for Human Affairs. And that was done on behalf of the Brookings Institute, which is a third-party think tank, in collaboration with NASA. I'll drop the link for that.
Do, and we'll stick it in. We'll put that in the description.
Yeah, definitely.
But essentially, you're looking at a plan to form PR in a proper way that NASA is going to disseminate only certain information to the public if they ever find it. And to your question earlier, Lee, like, what do they know? What do astronauts know? I think they know a lot more than what they're telling us.
Oh, definitely.
And I think, this recent interest in UAP is just a PR exercise. It's a practice so that they can slowly release what they want and be in control of the issue.
I've kind of found that it's working out to be that UFOs are like the unknown and the UAPs are like the known that we've created, but we're not saying.
Oh, right. Yeah. So,
it's ours, it's the UAPs.
So do you think we have advanced technology out there of our own that we're unaware of as a public? Yeah,
sure. Without a doubt. There's even a theory now that the Phoenix Lights is a stealth-like bomber that's got invisible like cloaking under it and around it, but it's kind of like a balloon. It's not. So it wouldn't need that much power to move it.
It's crazy that we've been seeing a lot of balloons in the news, haven't we, recently as well? But I mean, they're always weather balloons. It's always a weather balloon.
That would have been a big balloon. And even, I asked that question. I just dropped the link in the chat there. But I asked that, somebody who really studied that Phoenix Lights incident is James Fox. And I asked that question to him. Do you think it's like this possible super clandestine black budget craft that's called like the TR-3B? And he says, well, no, because thousands of people saw this. This was the biggest object that we've ever recorded, and
I think it's 50,000
sightings.
all in all.
Oh yeah, there was mega sightings of this, wasn't there?
Yeah,
it was 10,000 then, but 50 now.
It seemed to, be translucent, and he said there was like this telepathic sort of psychic element to it, that people felt like they were getting beamed messages or thoughts to their heads as they were looking at this object going over top of them. So I don't know if we have that technology per se back then.
It's very Project Bluebeam in a way, isn't it? Or elements of it.
Yeah,
it's some like the embassies kind of thing, where the embassies over the last couple of years, few of the American embassies that key workers in there are going, I'm not feeling right, there's something going on here. And the
Havana syndrome.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that? Sorry. What was
Havana syndrome?
Havana
syndrome. Yeah, it's something that Gary Nolan's been talking about a lot recently, where, these American embassies in places like Cuba, where these workers are going in, they're working out of the office, all of a sudden they get really sick from something, and it's not like a stomach issue. They don't have like Montezuma's revenge, which you would expect maybe down in a Latin American country. They are literally getting a mental sort of issue, and people think that maybe that might be maybe a foreign adversary's technology that's kind of emitting some kind of
wave or
radio
pulse or something like that,
or something that are really messing with people's minds in strategic ways.
That's
to
actually
mess with American embassies.
That science they've been probably working on since like the 60s.
Well, America's been military's been working on it for like, let's say 2010.
Well, that type
they've been working on it like.
But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that they would do this to their own diplomats. It would make sense that
CIA are notorious for trying things out on their own.
That's true. That's true. Even now,
I wouldn't put it past a government trying radical experiments out on their own people. I mean, literally, there's quite a lot of governments over the course of history that have done it.
Under secret.
Rather secret, of course. Well, they're never going to go and tell you.
I do agree. Like there was the Tuskegee experiment where they tested on this poor African American community. They were injecting, I think it was like syphilis into them, and pretending that it was like a vaccine or some kind of treatment, and people were dying and becoming like insane from the sickness.
Spread like wildfire.
Yeah, but so I know that the United States has conducted these experiments on their own. I just don't know if Havana syndrome is one of those situations where if it's a foreign adversary that even has that type of technology that they can test out on, technically Cuba is still a communist country, right?
That's right. But the Navy did bring out a written script to state that from, I think it was 2000, that they can basically test on their own troops,
personnel,
without any comeback of it.
Well worth joining up, isn't it?
From that alone, with you're going to get a load of different people who are going into embassies. So these could have been like Navy, but also you don't know that they've signed it for like military, you know what I mean, and even special forces or special units. You have to sign this waiver that we can test on you whenever we want, and there's no comeback on us.
You signed up for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I mean, I think that was the sort of idea. In general with armed forces, when you sign up, you're kind of under their control. Well, it used to be that way. I think you have a lot more rights now. But going into the idea of what's happening to kind of identify these crafts. Do you know, when these fast walkers, slow walkers, you know, it kind of reminds me of kind of the Project Blue Book, you know, earlier on in the 60s, this sort of kind of like idea of documenting all of the anomalies to kind of build up a bit better picture of it. Obviously nowadays we've got so much more data that I refuse to believe that it's kind of just nothing. So I mean, what's going ahead now to kind of monitor and try and get a bit more information to the public on this sort of matter?
Yeah, so in terms of fast walkers or just space-based UFOs, I know that Arrow had that public hearing that a lot of ufologists and such watched, and were pretty upset by Sean Kirkpatrick, the director of Arrow's explanation of what they found so far. Just seems to be mostly prosaic, or could be explained from earthly, you know, origin.
That first drop of data, we were kind of like that report was just like, oh, right, we've been kind of it isn't UFOs. We're not saying it's UFOs, but it could be UFOs sort of attitude. And I think that's kind of we're going to just keep getting this sort of kickback from them. Do you know, where they say that it is something that they can identify, but we won't tell you what it is. But we're not saying it's anything in particular. So
until a big
nothing
happens.
Yeah, nothing ET at this point. But I think what was interesting that came out as a result of that was Christopher Mellon. Christopher Mellon has been leading up the UAP charge on Capitol Hill for a while now. You know, he was part of the Stars Academy, and
that's Tom DeLonge's little side
yeah,
hustle,
well,
isn't it?
Actually, think about that company.
I was going to ask you this actually. What's your views on?
I think they served their purpose in making this super mainstream. You know, before them, there wasn't this. It wasn't getting anywhere. Yeah. I mean, people that have been studying this subject for a long time may get a little jealous, you know, PB and jelly about it and say, oh, well, we never needed these guys whatsoever. But I think the mainstream did. And this really onboarded multiple individuals around the world that never would have looked at this subject credibly before. So I think they did serve their purpose in that way. But Christopher Mellon is still a highly intelligent, well-informed, you know, active member of Congress that has seen and been part of briefings that the public will never be part of in terms of the UAP subject. So I bring him up because of that. And he
stood up in Congress, hasn't he?
Pardon?
Didn't he stand up in Congress and you know, say he's, you know, been privy to this sort of thing?
Information.
Yeah. Yeah, he has.
And said that it needs to be investigated. So I think
exactly. So he's definitely continuing. I think everybody that was part of To the Stars Academy is still interested in the best case scenario for the UAP UFO subject. They still want more data to come out. So when people, you know, kind of go crazy about them in general, the money situation and stuff, I totally understand that. But I think we still have to look at the bigger picture here. This is still being a subject that's being pushed along, and I'd like to see it go somewhere rather than be not treated with any credibility.
No, I understand. Right? I get that. And it's almost like it doesn't really matter how the information gets out there as long as it does. And, you know, as long as people are, you know,
the right time as well,
you know, doing things to kind of, you know, generate awareness that these things are happening around us. Yeah, I think
because you know you're also going to get more and more people that are from intelligence or possibly military backgrounds that might want to step up now that there's this Whistleblower Protection Act that's been enabled legally in the United States, at least, to allow service members and intelligence members to report to Arrow. So this was never set up before, where, you know, these reports were kind of kept within compartmentalized groups within intelligence and military, and they never really were allowed to interact outside of that. Now they can go to Arrow and be protected, so that they can't, you know, get scrutiny for their testimony, or they won't be essentially sued or fired from their job and labeled a UFO kook or something, right? So there's good things that are coming out of this. But anyways, Christopher Mellon, after that Arrow's congressional hearing, the recent one, he came out and said, we have satellites, we have detection systems that have super high resolution video and imagery of these UAP entering Earth's atmosphere and interacting with the planet. That says a lot to me. That means, you know, if you look at my documentary that's covering a history of DSP satellites and different space missions where we've detected these UAP over the decades, and these are all really old cases, some of them now. Some of them are more recent, you know, even up till 2017. We're now talking about somebody who's actually been privy to that information, that's seen these photos, possibly been part of briefings that the public's not privy to. And he knows that there's a treasure trove of this type of data being picked up by satellites that dwarf the DSP, the Defense Support Program satellite systems that were picking up these, detecting these fastwalkers and UAP throughout decades. So I think that's exciting. I think that definitely, if we start to see more of that stuff come forward, it's really going to blow the lid off of this subject.
So, like you've just explained there, we've been seeing these type of this sort of activity for decades now, ever since we've kind of first started to look into, or even kind of leave the planet. The idea that we, you know, there's information out there that we're definitely not privy to. But then the actions of, like, you know, the US government in creating a space force, you know, to, you know, defend against what exactly, you know, I don't know. But I mean, like, you know, it kind of suggests, you know, based on actions and kind of information that they're privy to, that it maybe is a need for this type of branch of the military. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
Right.
Yeah, I think you're dealing with a public PR campaign. I think the United States has always had defense and military equipment and involvement in space, the theater of outer space.
Star Wars.
Yeah, the Star Wars program and stuff under Reagan, and there's all kinds of evidence that they've been doing stuff up there to slowly roll out their plan to protect American interests. I think we're just looking at a public representation of that, but they are actually stating their goals now, and they're saying we're going to build the best information collection data from space. We're going to use AI to enhance it. We're going to protect our planet and our allies and the United States interests economically and in space physically. So I think what you're looking at really is the rollout of a more powerful space operation to protect the United States and their interests. If they are building this orbital space station that's going to be further towards the moon, in between Earth and the ISS, you're looking at a active military presence there where they're protecting that asset. If they're going to be building a space station on the moon, or you know, aiding Elon Musk in his mission to send the Starship to colonize Mars, you're going to need a military presence. You're going to need some defense and intelligence with those missions to protect those investments, to protect the citizens. So
it's actually true, isn't it? You always,
as well,
in these sci-fi movies, you always get like the bunch of scientists and then the military squad, don't you, behind them, like, you know, like securing the area and making sure everything's all good, you know, protecting their interests. Yeah, 100%.
They've got their own interest as well as the scientists have got their own interest. They're not just there to secure; they're there to, spy and collect stuff and do
command
whatever
and control.
Command and conquer.
Totally command and conquer at the end of it.
So, what do you think's next in terms of kind of the whole UFO disclosure and?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's anybody's best guess at this point, but I was just tweeting today about, NASA published their schedule for this upcoming event where they're going to go public and talk about all this UAP related stuff, right? And if you look at what they have on their schedule, they've got a morning pretty jam-packed with stuff, call to order, panelist introductions, and overview remarks from 10:30 to 10:40. That's a quick one. Then next up is NASA science perspective. Then next up is chairs perspective. Then next up is ARROW, all domain anomaly resolution office presentation. Then they have the FAA presentation, adjourned for lunch. Then at 12:45 to 1:45 p.m., they have the UAP-ist panelist presentations and discussions. They start by framing the issue of UAP. Then they go into NASA's role in UAP studies. Then they talk about the data and crowdsourcing. I'm interested to see if they're going to look at data from the past because if you look at my documentaries, there's plenty of data from the past.
There definitely is. And I mean, the interesting thing is, though, I mean, there is still going to be a level of secrecy to certain documents. And obviously, as time passes, they're going to say, oh, yeah, well, you can release this. This doesn't really affect anything, but it kind of does give a bit of information. It's not kind of the whole picture. Do you think that is good enough? Do you think that they've got this... they're still keeping some of this classified even now, even though it's old data. When I went on a interview panel with a guy who has a YouTube channel called UFO Man. This guy named Tim. He was kind enough to have me on. I was very adamant about speaking to Avi Loeb. I've been trying to speak to Avi Loeb for the past 5 years, but his secretary or his wall would not let me through. I guess we know that we have these problems. We're trying to get guests and stuff and interviews, and it's so difficult into that. Sometimes it's I feel you.
So when I spoke to Avi about the Galileo project and his ambitions and what his interest is in the UAP subject, it's all there. He has some really interesting things to say about that, and I am excited for his project. But when I asked about the past, his thoughts on the UAP subject, having a lot of classified information that's protected by the military and so on and so forth, he said that's a fool's game, basically, and there's no point looking at the past, and we'll never get clarity on stuff that's classified because the Department of Defense never is going to release it. And I find that aggravating because it kind of discounts what so many people have been focusing on in the past in terms of credible events. He even discounted the Tic Tac UFO and said that that's easy to create an anomaly like that in a FLIR camera and stuff. And I was like, but wait a minute, you have multiple pilots that witnessed this. You have ground radar tracking systems that were also placing this object, and that's how they even found it in the middle of the ocean and were scrambled to intercept it. So there was a lot of things about that conversation that put me off about Avi's interest in UAP. And if you think about his connection to Sean Kirkpatrick, he literally published a paper with the director of ARROW recently about UAP that was the first scientific journal to be accepted and published within the academic community about UAP. And it echoes a lot of these sentiments. It means that they want to only look at UAPs that are the data that's being collected from present going forward.
I was just thinking this because
that's a real problem to me.
Do you think it is a problem?
Look at past events.
Because I understand that they do need to look at the past events, but if you think about, so say if it was yourself who was setting up this agency that were, you know, like obviously Project Galileo, it's a private agency, and they're trying to approach the government that are not giving them anything. So it's almost like, well, right, well, let's forget the past and let's just look at what we can gather now, because obviously they can't dispute.
For the past
well, they can't. I understand that, but what's happening now? If they can get that data firsthand, then there's no disputing it anymore, because you know that's data you've gathered yourself, and you're not relying on. Even though they're interesting and very fundamental cases to the you know the topic, it's.
Well, I think they still want to be in charge.
You're never going to be 100% sure that they've gave you all the information.
Yeah.
So, you know, by gathering your own data, I know where you're coming from, though, because it is quite frustrating when you know, you want answers. You want answers for these past events as well as what's going on right now.
But there's a thing on top of it, which not a lot of people kind of maybe not realise or look at it, that from the aspects of what I found, it seems that they don't want us to know. This species doesn't want us to know.
Oh, the species doesn't want us to know now. Right, okay.
To stop us from finding the information, but how? Because they broke certain rules, because there was an agreement. Supposedly there was an agreement that they could pick up people, bring them back, do whatever they needed to do, but they had to give the list to the government so they knew, and they only had to take a certain amount of people.
Wasn't that Sphero, Project Sphero or something like that?
No, this was when the president in 47, I think he went to Area 51. They denied him access. So he sent his.
You're talking about President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah, and
that's
supposedly
a rumor.
3 contracts. Yeah,
that's a rumor. I mean, we can't confirm any of that. It's really interesting, but
we can't. But the reactions of these objects, it's like they don't want us to know as well, sort of, but they do it at the time.
Yeah. To go back to Avi though, and Project Galileo, their goals and mission statement, and how they're going to treat the research effort with Galileo to identify and better understand what these UAP are. He's looking at data that he's bringing in from his instrumentation, and he only has a short runway of investment to build all of his equipment out. Like, maybe 3 different stations, right?
Yeah, so he's not got like no NASA backing or any Elon Musk money. He's literally trying to.
He doesn't like it. That's why Christopher Mellon said there's an interest here to unify our detection systems, both in the ocean, our ground-based, radio telescope systems, and our satellite systems. Unify that data and comb through that to find the most credible information in terms of UAP. And it's very interesting that actually Ben Nelson was echoing those same sentiments in recent publications, that he's been saying we need to unify our UAP collection data. So Galileo is not part of that. I don't think they're unifying it would be their own private instrumentation that's not linked to the government, not linked to the Department of Defense and intelligence agencies, so they get to own that data and scrutinize it. But he's even admitted publicly that if the defense or some defense organization or intelligence agency does approach him and say, we need that data that you collected,
they've got to hand it over. Yeah, he's got to basically hand it over.
So it's like you're playing in their sandbox no matter what. And they get to make the rules. They get to decide what you're going to do, even if you've created your own tools in their sandbox.
Exactly. And I mean, to be honest, it's like we've seen this a lot in a lot of cases where, you know, they'll let you crack on with what you're doing just in case you do come up with anything interesting, you know, and then they'll, like you say, they'll be knocking at the door, the men in black uniforms, taking your life's research, I suppose. Darcy, we're pretty much run out of time. I do apologise. But it's been amazing having you on the show. If you could just let everybody know where the documentary is available and what's next for you.
All right, so people can check out my docs on Amazon. In the UK, probably iTunes or Apple TV would be a good location as well. Vimeo, but you know, if they want to follow me on social media, my name's Occult Journeys on Twitter. Same thing on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Occult Journeys. And Instagram, Darcy Weir Films. So thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem.
I can also toss you a link to
definitely
the latest doc. And if you want to post that wherever people check out your podcast, that would be great.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll pop it on the a trailer or something on the website as well, and get everybody to get out and check that out. Darcy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. You're so knowledgeable about the whole subject. Love to have you on again.
Sure. Anytime when you do your next one, please, come along and we'll definitely show you.
Well, thanks
you
again.
Lee, thanks, Gaz. Amazing conversation, and we'll be in touch.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, buddy.
Well, I've got to say big thanks to Darcy for joining us on the show. If you've not checked it out, go over to Amazon and check out Secrete Space UFO Fastwalkers and the Secrete Space series, because, I mean, I've not seen it. I've seen this Fastwalkers documentary, and it was great. Yeah, but now I'm really intrigued to see the rest of them.
Let's have a look at the others.
I'm sure they're available on Amazon. Check them out. I'm going to be checking them out. Come and have a conversation with us. Awesome stuff. Well, I feel like I've got a bit of a frog in the throat.
You have,
tonight. It'll go away.
It will.
So we've got some news. Was there anything you wanted to add about the Darcy and the whole?
I just thought it was really good documentary on like the footage and the way he did it as well.
Well, it was the information. I mean, obviously, like he was saying there about the information from the Black Vault. And this stuff is readily available to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's how, it's the detective work that goes into it, where they've, investigated, pieced it together based off this bit of information here and code words and code names and
taking
stuff like that.
Taking his time and going to places to actually interview the people who
it's the whole Batman detective nature of it that gets me going, and like that, and he's done a really good job in this instance. So definitely worth checking out.
Him and the team have done a really good job on it.
Well, high praise indeed. We're moving on now because we've got some news.
We have indeed,
and I think it's about you anytime now. It's the news! Oh, yeah, we've scoured the World Wide Web to find you the newsiest news around.
The news.
Took about a whole minute.
Or two.
Hot minute. Indeed, we've actually found, I've got some international global news this week, because normally when I'm looking, it's usually all UK or all America.
I've got quite a home.
I've got a smorgasbord of stories from representing all the regions of the world. I feel virtually. But I'm gonna let
America.
America's represented. I'm gonna let you kick off the news this week.
Oh, okay then. Well, let's go.
Shits and gigs.
Oh yeah. Well, talking about shits and gigs. What about ships? Well,
ships.
Boats. Yeah.
Schooners.
Boats have been sinking. 3 boats sank in the English Channel because of orcas.
Orcas.
Yeah.
Orca whales.
Yes, orca killer whales.
It's funny this actually because I've got a story that involves capsizing boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not orca whales.
Oh, right.
Well, you tell me your story, and you show me yours. I'll show you mine.
Oh, that sounds
Promising.
yeah.
Hey.
Well, they've named one called Gladys, and they reckon that this Gladys orca has taught other whales, killer whales, to actually attack.
What? Gladys is like doing fucking military training. It's
Yeah,
like, where did you receive your training? Deep sea training.
Well, scientists in Spain reckon that it's because she had a bad time with a boat, and she's learned how to attack and basically teach the other orcas to don't trust the boats, attack them instead.
Wow, we're at war with orca whales.
I
Is
think
that
a
what it is?
Norwegian one went down, a Spanish one.
So they're not prejudiced then?
No,
They're just any boat.
But they're also just damaging the bottom, so they can't actually, the boats can't actually steer or anything like that. And
bloody hell, Gladys.
Yeah, the proper at it. There was one actually filmed training its youngster to attack the boat by the side.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And so
it's
what
mad.
are they doing research into this? I mean, obviously they are because you've just said, but like...
but they're trying to work out what the...
what the beef is.
Yeah,
I
really.
mean, come on, what was the situation that got Gladys all fired up and attacking boats? That's what we want to know.
Did she escape from a zoo?
This sounds like, did she free willy over the wall?
Yeah, you never know.
This sounds like, a Disney movie in the making. I'm sure they'll make that.
I hope they don't. I hated that Free Willy. It was on all the fucking time, and it was like, yeah, all right, I got the point the first time. I don't need to see it again and again and again. It was just...
What, well, you didn't watch Free Willy 2 then?
No.
All right,
Or
well,
free.
going back to capsizing boats. Yeah, this is a boat that capsized in Malawi, where 23 passengers have gone missing.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
It's believed to have been a hippo, not an orca.
Not an orca.
This was a hippo
Yeah.
that capsized a boat, passenger boat, carrying at least 30 villagers across the Shire River in Malawi.
Yeah.
The police spokesman said that they reckon it was a hippo that did it.
Oh.
23 people are still missing.
Oh, no.
And unfortunately, they have had fatalities. They found some infants. But I mean, what is it? Is nature fighting back?
Well,
they're attacking boats now.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, nature should always fight back for its own survival because it is getting destroyed in certain areas. I mean, not all of it, but in certain areas, and which will take the wildlife. And don't forget, some of it would be instinctive anyway. If something's attacking your environment or you're going to attack back.
Oh, of course, yeah. No wonder these orca whales are like training the others. If it's like definitely got a gripe there, haven't they? Found this story. In fact, this is an interesting one because it kind of me and Jay were watching some videos the other day, and it was the most expensive luxury goods.
Oh right,
yeah. And I found this one, which is the most expensive ice cream. How much do you reckon it is per scoop?
$2,000.
$2,000's quite well. It's not. It's actually quite dear, but no, it's dearer than that. It comes in at a whopping $6,636.
Shit.
Per scoop.
Gold and platinum.
It was really funny because we were watching, these videos, and there was 2 Chainz, and he was getting introduced to these really luxurious blunts.
As he does.
And he said, when he said how much is in it, and he was trying to tot up how much the weight of cannabis costs, and he goes, well, it's about $800. And they were like, no, try $8,000.
$8,000.
Yeah. Prestige item, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously this is prestige ice cream. A Japanese ice cream company has established some of the world's rarest ingredients to create ice cream flavors that cost $6,696. I do apologize per serving. The Guinness World Records have announced that the Japanese brand Celato, or I think so, it's gelato, Celato, earned a record of the world's most expensive ice cream with its new flavour.
Okay, now.
Wow, who's going to pay that?
Who's want an extra scoop as well? You always want an extra seconds, don't you?
Don't you? You always want to. I hope that comes with a flake. And you know what it's like, mate? Because this has happened literally to me and friends, where you get an ice cream and it's a hot sunny day, and then your scoop falls off the cone.
You know what?
Plops on the floor.
I don't think I've ever had that happen.
I've seen it happen. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen.
Seen your own go.
I mean, yeah. Do you know what it's like? Do you know when some things you see in movies but you never see happen in real life? That is
slipping
definitely
on banana and stuff like that.
Funny you should say that, actually, because that was what was going through my head. But I was thinking of like there's an Eddie Izzard sketch where he's like that, going, you know, where I've never seen anybody slip on a banana peel. I've never seen documentary footage of anyone slipping on a banana peel, and you haven't in real life. It only happens in the movies, do you know what I mean? And I feel like that is one of those things that happens, unfortunately, in movies. But no, it does. Generally, if you've lost ice cream in this way,
Charlie Chaplin movie.
It's the same with seagulls pinching your chips at the beach.
Oh, that's true, though. That works. That's true.
Well, I've got a story here about seagulls, not just pinching the chips, but
pinching the ketchup as well.
High on spice. They need the seasonings for the chips.
Oh, well, you need a bit of seasoning, yeah.
Well, not the spice you might be thinking about, because this is seagulls are high on spice after making off with people's stashes of drugs.
Oh shit! So it must be a rife, or they're putting it. They're hiding.
I mean, how many spice heads are chilling around the seaside that this has become a problem?
It's a lot more now, isn't it?
I mean, and it's like, we're supposed to feel sorry for the spicy people. You know, go, oh wait a minute, they've lost the spice. Good, so they're not fucking littering the streets.
To be honest, I'd like to see what one would look like.
What a spicy seagull.
Yeah, what is he just going to fall all over the floor?
Well, this is the thing, you see, because obviously British seagulls are seen to be, developing an appetite for a little more than fish and chips. These apparently, they're basically...
burgers, pizzas.
No, they're going.
False teeth.
They're hanging around seaside resorts, swooping down and making off with holidaymakers' drug stashes. Yeah. In particular, the synthetic cannabinoids known as spice, right? So spice in humans can cause, a lot of different effects. Nausea, mood swings. In some cases, it acts as a sedative and can be kind of considered a bit of a zombie drug. If you've seen Spice Addicts, you know what I'm talking. It's like the fentanyl lean. Do you know the dope fiend lean?
Oh,
yeah. Surprisingly enough, there's been little research on the synthetic narcotics' effects on seagulls. Maybe they could do a study. I bet they could get it published.
Yeah, I bet they could down.
100%.
Some university body doing nothing.
But they're basically swooping down, and then
because I've opened my stash and just gone.
They nicked the stash of drugs, and then apparently it's been reported this has been happening in Hastings, East Sussex, Margate, Kent, and other cities including London, Leeds, Manchester, and Liverpool.
Oh shit! And not only that, the drug dealers are the ones who are complaining.
It just makes me think, wow, there's a lot of spice heads.
All
over the show.
Right,
and if seagulls are nicking it, well, they're doing a public service, in my opinion.
Hey, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well done. You know what?
Yeah, but they shouldn't be eating it. They should be dropping it in bins or some shit.
What, dropping it off in
in the sea or something?
What, a spice?
Let the fish have a go.
Spice for chips program.
Oh yeah. It might work, that,
like guns for toys.
Yeah.
But, all right, maybe. It's something to pitch to the police.
Let's train them seagulls.
They've already done it. They've already trained. They don't need training.
But they're nicking the stuff and then sniffing it.
What is this with fucking militarized animals tonight? Stealing and stuff. Anything else you want to talk about, newsy wise?
Yes. MPs in our parliament are a bit afraid at the minute over the WHO's possibly be able to have the power to put lockdowns and passports and all that in a treaty that we're about to sign next year.
I'll tell you why. right? Because no fucker will want to do it. Nobody.
Yeah. But if the treaty is signed,
wait a minute. Hands up, everybody who wants another lockdown. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, right. I think that's going to be like something extreme for just the public to go. Do you know what? yeah, all right. I'll have another lockdown, please. It's just not feasible now. We're just going to go whatever. Nah, I want to go out. When you've got the leaders of the country, I mean, Boris Johnson.
You can't even leave.
Boris Johnson's fresh allegations now based on diaries.
I've got a story on him as well.
So he diaries and fucking personal documents of Boris Johnson's have leaked, right? Where it basically incriminates him even further, with more instances of breaking the rules, right? So how can we have, honestly, you know, people in charge doing this sort of thing, and then the public expect to just bend over and take whatever punishment.
Because they've been doing it for so long, and we have taken it.
We've seen it too many times now. It's so much that, like, if they were to basically say, "Come on, guys, we need you to have a lockdown," I think we'd have a revolt. Honestly, and that's not. I'm not trying to instigate anything. Happen. I'm just saying that's probably what would happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I'll be walking outside. I won't give a shit.
I'll be like, come on, the guys in charge can't even follow this shit. So you think I'm going to pay attention? I don't think so. You're hypocrites. So no, we wouldn't. And I don't think even if the WHO had that power, what are they going to do?
Well, but the thing is, it's not just here. It's all the countries that signed up to 194 countries will be signing this new charter, and they will have like if there's COVID in this area, they'd lock down the whole area basically.
Well, a bit like China.
Basically.
It doesn't work.
And
that
not
way.
Only that, 5% of our budget.
Why do you think China's still got it in a bad way? Yeah, because they had a zero tolerance against it, right? And instead of like just dealing with it to an extent like we did, I mean, we pussyfooted around it, but eventually got herd immunity anyway, right? Yeah. With help from potential, I don't care, whatever, right? But like, China had a zero to COVID policy, right? Yeah. Which meant people were still more susceptible and immune to the worst risks. When these sort of things start up, then whole fucking blocks of buildings are getting put in quarantine. It's not the best or even the most sensible way of dealing with the problem, and that adopting those methods as the WHO is a really silly move, and I don't believe that's what actually going to happen.
Totally. Well, they've already thrown out the first draft of the contract, which you can see it online.
This is the thing as well, because a lot of the time it's hardly worth reporting on some of this stuff, because it's like
they put it in so many different ways.
Well, no, it's like when I think there was a story a while ago that we covered where it was like they'd put something on by mistake on a website, and then when oh shit, they got a backlash and they took it down. But just because it went on the website, people went, "Oh shit, this is happening." And
that is true.
You know, it's kind
supposed
of like
to be true if it's on
jumping
that website,
jumping into conclusions before it happens. Maybe. Anyway, I've got a story about a man here who was trying to break into Daytona Beach home whilst fleeing from ghosts.
Ghosts?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Yeah, Andrew George, 38, faces charges of burglary after he broke into a Daytona Beach property, claiming that he was fleeing from ghosts.
What, so he running in the house going, I'm running away from ghosts, help me, whatever, or was he going in there nice and quiet?
He was shooting up the place by all accounts. Police said they were called to a shooting at a beach property, which was later revealed to have been an intended burglary. Upon arrival, the police found a man, 38, Andrew George, laying on his back, covered in blood and crying out in pain, saying that obviously
he'd been shot.
He was saying they were going to get me with some ectoplasm. No, I don't know what he was saying. Basically, while speaking to the pair, who were obviously the couple who owned the house, they found that they'd gotten into the room nearby. They'd heard the bathroom window opening and basically found out that there was somebody trying to break into their room. Yeah, I think they were in obviously it was I don't know, must have been a low level property.
Yeah,
But yeah, tried to break in. So yeah, where's this ghost? Where's the ghost bit? That's the bit I want to know about.
Yeah.
So
what was it? Napoleon?
I don't know. George been pounding on the door, and the woman who was armed, with a kitchen knife,
good girl,
threatened to kill George if he managed to break through.
Yeah.
So obviously he was proper like trying to get in, but according to George later, he told the police that he'd left the hotel and begun fleeing because he believed there was a ghost chasing him, and wanted to harm him.
Fucking, he hadn't had his meds.
I think he should have took his chances with the ghost rather than nearly getting himself killed by a kitchen knife by a real person.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
True. That's true. But she must have defended. If he was full of blood, she must have defended herself a few times. I think.
I don't know where the blood. If the blood was there pre-burglary attempt or.
Yeah.
Had he caused something else beforehand? I don't know.
Or
maybe
did he walk into the wall or some shit like that?
Fell down the stairs.
Fell down the stairs. Yeah, we know what the bloke did. Yeah, okay, whatever.
He just fell down the stairs, officer.
Yeah.
Trying to break into my house.
We ain't getting into my yard.
So, anything else you want us to discuss?
Second part of that story of when I was saying about Boris Johnson.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
Well, Boris Johnson and the ministers they look like they might be getting sued by us basically because in 48 hours the COVID inquiry is supposed to let out all the information, all the secret information and information between Boris Johnson and the ministers are supposed to be coming out, but the government is declining on letting them go.
For what?
Why not? For the through the COVID crisis. Well, there was the inquiry on it has just been done. Now they've got 48 hours to actually hand over all the information.
We knew they were all fucking using it to their advantage, and it's just proving it. And it's like if this does that, and it gets the people who were fucking taking advantage of a shitty situation, then I'm all for it. So hopefully that yields some positive stuff.
Hopefully the info's going to come through, and if it doesn't, at the minute they're looking at a lawsuit at the minute with him now.
Yeah, fair enough. Did you hear about this one? A German surgeon. Right, yeah, this is crazy, right? Yeah, so I don't know, mate. This is one of these situations, right? So let's put this into a bit of context, right? Yeah. Right. In a what would you do situation sort of thing, right? So you're on a plane, right? Yeah.
Okay.
The pilot or the co-pilot passes away suddenly. And the pilot gets on the intercom and goes, I need an hand to land this plane,
Okay.
And he calls you up, you confidently say, I'll help you. And you run
no
up.
Problem, man.
No problem. And you help land the plane.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself consider that man a hero?
No.
Why not?
Because I would only do what I'm hoping someone else would do to stop a tragedy.
No, I mean, fair enough. Well, so modest. You're a modest guy, but what I'm saying is, you've done a service, you've helped people survive, all the rest of it,
Yeah.
Right? Well, this German surgeon, he's been fired.
What?
Right? After getting a hospital cleaner to assist him.
Oh.
Right? He was assisting in an amputation.
Well.
Right?
Yeah.
Assisting in an amputation, but maybe he needed an extra pair of hands and there was no one else about, and he just went, you'll do, hold this. Yeah, this guy might have died. Yeah. Did he deserve being sacked? I don't know. Well, a hospital chief executive says so. Surgeons basically been wrongly decided to go ahead with a routine procedure. So apparently, even though he had no qualifications, the assistant was available. Basically, no assistant was available. So basically, when the patient had a local anaesthetic, he became restless, and the doctor asked a nearby cleaner to hold the man's leg while he basically used surgical implements to remove it. So holding him down, is that really helping him?
Well,
it's assisting him, isn't it?
Yeah,
but I
he's
mean,
assisting
it's
the
like,
act.
would you rather have him like struggle and suffer, and the patient be kind of like in a bit of anguish, or would you have like used any? I can't see a problem in that.
I can, if the patient didn't want to have it happening, but the doctors believed that he was doing it to save his life.
Save his life in his best interest.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a bit too far in this sort of like blame culture.
But he wouldn't be
mean?
insured. I think it's down to like something like the insurance and that, because they've denied him to do the operation. Or the insurance may not even pay out for it.
Well, probably not, but I mean, basically, it just says the report on the situation said that the cleaner had no medical experience. The incident came to light after the hospital manager spotted the cleaner's bloody, gauze pads in his hand, and basically in the operating theatre area. So this should never have happened, the German news agency said.
Contamination from the cleaner, because don't forget, he'd be at the dirtiest spots.
It's like, where have you just been? Just come from cleaning the toilets, right? Yeah,
right.
quick, grab this leg.
Maybe. It could be infection thing. So then the hospital would be, the hospital won't be sued. He would be sued.
I don't know. It's one of them. And, we've seen enough zombie apocalypse movies to know that, I've seen legs amputated in grottier environments and they've survived.
But it's harder now.
True, that is sci-fi. But I don't know. I'm really torn with that one, because I mean, in terms of like life and death situations,
it all comes down to the patient. I think if the patient wanted it done, and the hospital refused, and the doctor said he would, fair enough.
I don't know. What do you guys think at home? It's a bit of a tricky conundrum. That would you sue the hospital and let the doctor be sacked because he let a cleaner help with the surgery?
Well,
maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't like surgery anyway for the best of times, but at the end of the day,
no. Well, Europe.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, Europe. The ESA, which is the European Space Agency, have announced to Mind.com and India Today that we have first contact from Mars.
Shut up.
No.
Is this not even NASA news? Are you not saving this? I thought you would have. This would have been in NASA news. This is just news.
This is just news, yeah. Because
so go on.
I'm on the cusp of.
Who's contacting us?
No. Well, supposedly they're ex-Mars test gas orbiter, the TGO, Forseti, actually got a code through there, and at the minute they're trying to decode it, but they're going to all the places around the world, and they're all trying to find out what this message is that has been sent to this orbiter that's come back to us, and it's I'm kind of like, is it true or isn't it? Kind of.
Well, you kind of sound a bit kind of like loosey goosey with the facts, but I've not heard anything about this.
Yeah.
But interestingly, I was recently, we've covered the WOW signal.
We have, yes, we have.
Now, the WOW signal.
Wow.
Some people believe that it could be like a black hole or a star or something just sending a one signal, because it never repeated.
Yeah.
So chances of it being an actual signal from another race, pretty high.
Then it comes down to distances and stuff like that.
In terms of like what this piece of equipment picks up.
Yeah, it's out in space.
Exactly. So it could just be a bit of background radiation, or a signal that we've sent out that's bounced back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it could be a number of things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get too excited just yet.
No.
But
the agency has
that sounds interesting.
Stated that's right. It sort of makes me think of Roswell, when the papers first come out and went, right, yeah, we got craft, mate. Yeah, okay. And then the next day it was like,
weather balloon.
We haven't got craft. Yeah, it was a weather balloon. Yeah, we made a mistake. Sorry about that, but we'll tell you the truth when it happens again and again. Yeah, all right then. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes me think that, because it does come to the question of when this happens, not if, but when this happens, what is going to be our response back?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I suppose there's going to be a number of things that different people would want to respond back, like, you know, we come in peace, or, you know, stay away from us, or, you know, like
take me to your leader.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, come and land on the White House lawn, say hello, and we'll shoot you.
Well,
you know what I mean? Or we'll be nice to you and get you some cake. You know what I mean? It could be. There's loads of variations that different people around the world.
You'll never know. We'll see when it happens. Oh, sorry, I've got the hiccups.
Yeah.
Well, that is interesting. We'll keep an eye on that one. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm definitely. Keeping an eye on that one.
I was looking for space news earlier, and I didn't see that. But I do have this story though.
Oh, what you got?
This is a California man who walked into a regional bank.
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting to be leaving a hero.
Oh, another one.
Heroes, mate, all over the show. Michael
right.
Armus, Senior, was at a bank in the West checking to check in a check.
Yeah.
To deposit a check.
As you do.
On Monday, when the police say the 42-year-old Aludu, I can't pronounce his name, passed a note to the teller claiming that he had explosives and demanded money.
Naughty.
Armour said he recognised the suspect as a former neighbour and friend of his daughter.
No.
Yeah, immediately knew he needed to step in. So he approached the robber.
Yeah.
And give him a hug.
What?
He give him a hug. Yeah, right. Went over and went, listen, you don't have to do this.
I got some money.
Stopped him and give him a hug, and he foiled a bank robbery.
Yeah.
With a hug.
Oh,
Yeah, so Michael Armour, Senior, absolute legend. There's actual CCTV footage of him. Yeah, right. Yeah. So he said he just approached him, asked him, said, what's wrong? You don't have to, do it. He said that there's nothing in town like jobs, nothing in town for him. And he just wanted to go to prison. Yeah, this young lad. Right. Obviously, the 69-year-old said he tried to comfort the suspect and suggested that he go outside and meet, ultimately he surrendered. Ended up giving him a hug.
Yeah.
He took him outside and gave the man the hug right there on the spot. And he just said he just started crying, which I thought, obviously people are desperate.
Man. Yeah. It is desperate.
And obviously this guy didn't want to do it, but at the end of the day, you make your choices. But at the end of the day, this guy's gone up and been an absolute hero. So well done.
And he didn't follow through. He didn't turn around and get a bit outrageous or anything. He actually.
Well, I suppose
he was softly, easily down when he really.
You could still get in trouble for that, though.
Oh yeah. But less trouble than he would have if he actually carried on with it and then hurt people and stuff like that and take the money and then scarper.
Yeah, unlike these two, found this story about these guys who been stealing Galapagos turtles. Yeah. Not only that, rare books and comics. They've been stealing them from locations across Florida. And a couple was arrested by police department. They've been selling some items on eBay, and some other valuables, keepsakes and whatnot, including the rare reptiles.
Okay, yeah.
So they were basically taken into custody. Detectives searched the home with a warrant and found that they had
selection.
Discovered one of the missing Galapagos turtles dead in the freezer.
Fucking hell, man.
The other one was listed on eBay.
What the fuck? What, living or dead?
Living, probably. Taxidermy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are people stealing turtles?
I know, I mean, that's why the animals are fighting back, because of this kind of shit.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? Wiping their species
Where
out.
Climate fights back.
Yeah.
I've got one more story before we move on to NASA news.
Yeah.
Right, okay. This is good. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Do you know, in terms of a marketing ploy?
Yeah.
Right, now, I don't know where these guys operate from. Right. Hell Pizza they're called. Hell Pizza have launched a new marketing campaign. It's a buy now, pay when you're dead.
What?
Buy
How
now,
can you pay when you're dead?
pay when you're dead scheme.
I'll take that on board.
So, their
Pizzas are definitely.
marketing's basically says buy now, pay much, much later, and you sign a declaration.
Yeah, but there must be there might be an interest on that as well.
Maybe, but it said, well, do you care?
Yeah, because it takes time. It takes time to get the money in, so,
It depends. This is on the premise that you're going to just have one pizza in your life. How many times are you going to declare that you can pay when you're dead? So basically, the declaration states that I state your name, hereby declare to repay Hell Pizza the sum of for your pizza of your choice, pizza, and the money to be deducted from my estate once I perish from this earth.
Unless I haven't got an estate or I've actually pulled up.
Well, then
much debt.
whoever has to deal with your debt has to pay the pizza.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So
they got a good guaranteed market there,
how
really?
many pizzas are you going to eat in your lifetime? You'd owe them tons of money
that's
by the
it.
time you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And would you sign a contract
No.
to Hell Pizza?
No, it's
For your
sounds
pizza,
a bit spicy.
because it doesn't even say. Well, it doesn't. It says I declare that I will pay the sum of. I just write my soul.
Some of my soul.
My soul. Oh,
No,
someone else's soul.
yeah. The enemy of the week.
Yeah. Enemy of the week.
Yeah.
Have a pizza on them.
Yeah.
And then put their name down as their soul.
That's a good idea.
I like that. And then you're relatively debt free.
You might ask for ID though, but then you could get some fake one, I suppose.
Oh,
you could do.
maybe.
Someone.
Has anyone done it? Oh God, I can't stop
yeah.
hiccuping. I do apologise. If you've signed away your soul to Hell Pizza, I want to know.
Or even signed the.
Was it
the
tasty
contract
pizza? Was it a tasty pizza? And was it worth, signing a contract for, your partial part of your estate?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And how much of a estate?
I can imagine the will reading. It's like, to cousin Jimmy. I know you've always loved the carriage clock.
Yeah.
To Hell Pizza.
Yeah.
$17,999 and a Coke.
And a Coke. Yeah. Don't forget the Coke.
Don't forget the Coke. Right.
Yeah.
So
NASA. Some high bills there.
NASA news. We got some of that. Go for it.
We have, scientists or university bods have been doing some experiments with mice, and they reckon that the testing of it could actually put.
They're always doing stuff with mice.
Well, they are.
Poor little mites.
But this is for space, so
Ice in space.
We could go a lot further in a wave chamber that closes our brains down and doesn't, it slows us down cryogenics. Kind of like that, but not frozen. But your brain just slowed down.
Red Dwarf had the best explanation for stasis fields. With your mass probability of 0. So you're just a quantum mass you're quantum mass of 0. So you've got no sort of impact.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's a big.
There's another one.
Anyway, So I think that's obviously
that's good for the future.
No, because it's logical. Yeah. So it's like in sci-fi, right? Yeah. And you'd think, well, if this was real, how would I get around that problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. And although the things that are in sci-fi aren't necessarily real.
The
idea behind them,
and that,
the idea behind them's logical.
Definitely.
They're more likely to become physical in the future, because that's actually probably the best way of doing it. Do you know what I mean? And it took the imagination of a creative to come up with the idea, but then the mind of an engineer to bring it to life. Do you know what I mean?
But it's remarkable how it's gone from ice to freezing you, and having ice crystals breaking up your skin and shit like that, to just using sound waves, and the sound waves seem to be the experiments up to now seems to be working, that you can put something under for a long period of time with no damage when they come back out of it.
Right. There you
So
go.
for long travel, even just to go to Mars, that would like that's. I think that'd be one of the experiments they're going to end up doing on the early stages.
Sending a guy to Mars on the off chance.
Yeah, instead of being
Send Matt Damon.
Well, what are you going to do for like
with a bag of potatoes?
Don't know, 100 and something days, 190 days, or whatever long it will take you to get there. It's it's one of them that you need.
Just get a really good audio book.
Well, yeah, a long one. Fucking
really
hell,
long. You could do all the Harry Potters.
Oh,
anyway,
you won't even in the moon by then.
Stargazers have spotted UFOs.
Oh, good.
Guess where?
Florida.
Over Stoke-on-Trent.
Oh, mint. Good. Yep. It's the sun's out now, so people getting out there, and hopefully we're going to see a lot more, because year upon year we're getting more and more sightings.
Emily, who's a stargazer, has tweeted that she spotted what she believes to be a UFO in the skies above Stoke-on-Trent. The 24-year-old was on the top of a multi-storey car park when she noticed a mysterious light and did a double take. She was alone when she first noticed a UFO around 10 p.m. on Sunday night, and said that the first thought she thought that it was, she'd get a picture before it's gone.
Yeah.
But she said that she was just going to look up at the stars and she saw it. She took quite a long, looked at it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Felt that it was mysterious. Personally, she thought that it was an unidentified flying object. Probably was.
Yeah. Well, if she didn't identify it, it is.
But she said it wasn't moving, but she found it to be an odd shape, quite long, sounds like a cigar-shaped object.
It does to me as well.
Excellent stuff.
I think we've got ourselves a UFO.
Maybe indeed. The Pentagon releases... Oh, do apologise. My hiccups. This is Pepsi Cherry Coke.
Oh, I see.
Other Cokes are available.
Yeah.
Boy, give me the hiccups, something rotten.
I like a Cherry Coke, actually.
I love a Cherry Coke.
Yeah.
I love Dr. Pepper, but I know that's not Cherry Coke. But what is Dr. Pepper?
Well, that is the question.
I know it's misunderstood, but...
It is. Very misunderstood.
The Pentagon has attempted to explain a triangle-shaped UFO.
Rubber balloon.
Which has been released over one of the biggest marine bases in California.
Oh, interesting.
Basically, so baffling footage was released earlier in the week by the investigative filmmaker Jeremy Corbell.
Oh, Corbell, yes.
Yeah, so,
yes.
Have you seen it? I'll try and find it and put it on
but
Instagram.
I recognise the name.
Or Twitter, yeah. Anything you've seen?
I've seen something about how they're going to start now using lasers to send space probes into space instead of using they used to use the protons and that that come from the sun, the energy from the sun, to actually hit on like a skirt that moves it along and pushes it faster and faster and faster. But now they're looking at doing it through lasers.
Right, okay.
Yeah, which will give it more of a speed so we can get there faster.
Well, that's like what I was saying last week about sticking the high beams on.
Yeah.
Well, God.
Power.
This is another UFO. So basically, in the west middle of Wales. Sorry,
Right.
These hiccups are sending me.
Well, my last one.
This is my last story anyway. So aliens in mid-Wales, ufologists claim she saw a spacecraft over the Welsh skies. This is basically twice over the Arun Valley. So the truth is really out there.
It is.
It's got photographs. So two possibilities. Either we're not alone in the universe, or we're... we are. Do you know what I mean?
No, we're definitely not alone.
But, when you think about it that way, we're rather...
Yeah.
They are quite both terrifying possibilities.
Yeah,
we're rather alone or we're not.
And something has to start from somewhere. We may be the start of the universe.
Well, there's actually been a lot of different stuff going on in this area of Wales, including sheep mutilations, mysterious lights in the sky, and strange shapes in the horizon. Evidence that some later point to be more likely UFOs.
Yeah, a lot of weird shit going on.
crazy
good
stuff.
catching it, though. We need more catching.
Not far from us, that though. Really,
No,
I mean,
it's
about
not.
an hour drive. Maybe we should check out the area one day and see what's going on.
That sounds like an idea to me.
Well, if you like that, let us know.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Have you got any news left?
No, that's it, mate. Yeah,
Wow.
that's it.
I'm going to have to stop
Plenty
talking
out
because
there.
I'm just going to hiccup all the way through.
You are.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week
We will.
with another exciting episode. Thank you, Darcy, for joining us again on the show.
Cheers, buddy.
If you've not, don't forget to check out the documentary.
Yeah, please do.
Is it Secrete Space UFOs Fastwalkers, available on Amazon. I'll put links in the description to everything. There's a trailer on the website, so make sure you can go and check that out at neverastraightanswer.co.uk.
Yeah.
We're available on all social media, Instagram and Twitter,
Everywhere.
Facebook. So join the groups, join the pages,
Say hello.
get involved in the community,
Yeah.
and come and have a chat. It's all good.
Come in, have a
If you'd
coffee.
like to appear as a guest on the show, if you find you've got an interesting take on life, or
Or a
you've got a
story
story of some description, come and just send us an email. Let's see what you've got to say.
Yeah.
If you'd like to support the show, there's many ways. Go over to the website, click the support tab, and you will find lots of ways to help support the show, including Patreon, buy us a coffee, and PayPal.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty. Oh, you can buy T-shirts as well.
You can.
and other
Caps
stuff.
and
Bits and pieces, mugs and whatnot. Right. Well, we'll be back for another episode next week.
Yeah.
Oh God, stop hiccuping. Subscribe on YouTube.
Yes. Please do. Yeah.
Pet a
Have
cat.
little look.
Pay something forward.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe though.
Eat
Anytime
cheese.
you watch.
Eat cheese before bedtime,
Yeah. You know what I do, and it doesn't scare me.
and don't let the bed bugs bite. I've been Gaz.
They scare me, and I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Out.